Yeah, good morning, friends. This is Shivakumar, and so thanks for the continuous support, and thanks for the lot of actually immediate support you have given. So it's really amazing actually to see the galloping response on my videos. So yeah, today we are going to see about what is business process documentation, right? So a business process document is always a process guide. So it's a step-by-step document that explains how to do something in your business. For example, it might explain exactly how to transition an aspect of your company data from the legacy, I can say, servers to the cloud, or it might take the form of a policy, a tutorial, or a flowchart. It could live in your business plan so that your company handbooks can be recorded with all these business plans and everything, process, everything. So it's a new hire training manual or your cloud based standard operating procedure, whatever it may be. Actually, I'm just giving an example. So the business process documentation is an act of capturing or documenting all of the steps in a particular task. Ideally, it should happen in a real time. As employees perform a task, they document each steps they take. Ongoing process documentation, following by the regular process review, help staff and manage and learn that works and what does not work, right? Helping everyone to adapt the process of undertaking the step-by-step sequence which all the circumstances are involved in the business, I mean in day-to-day business process. So why we need or why do we document any process in your organization? So the process documentation is an important part of making sure certain tasks are done consistently and efficiently. So I can say um, major advantages of process documentation normally includes in my improving the process, reducing the confusion in the process, preservation of data, or and we can analysis whatever we want, right, in future. So there are many different methods of documenting this process, right? Say starting from written documentation to template creation to the automated software solution. We have automated solutions for business process documentations, right? So you can even integrate the process documentation as a part of your comprehensive approach to the productivity and project management. So your method may change from time to time. So it is a dynamic one, right? We cannot say it is always a standard one. So when coming to improving the process, say how the business process documentation improving the process, right? Or there are actually unnecessary steps involved? Is someone involved? Why does not need to be? Or should someone else be looped in? How does the process fit into your overall business strategies and everything? So during the process view, you can answer this and similar questions with the latest data in hand and reducing the confusion. Okay, so the process document helps to remove ambiguity or any confusion from your work. So y is supposed to do task x, y, or z? What is the end goal? How should it be done, or how should be? I mean, it is completed, right? Referring to the latest process documentation ensure all the employees, right? All the employees are on the same page. It can help new employees get up to speed more quickly. So it's a kind of actually handbook or kind of reference documentation, right? So when coming to preservation, say how the business process document help you to preserve your organization data. Maybe your CEO as an I mean, he's having an encyclopedia knowledge of all the major process in your office, or a top performer has a knack of figuring out the best way to accomplish any new task. What happens when that person leaves the company? So these are the quite challenges, right? Say for a CEO or any guy actually who is a main key person who left the organization, for example, due to his personal things or personal agenda. So and in that case, actually, what you will do? So say what yeah, the next level person or actually a new joiner, I mean, who is replacing that person. So he will what he will do, right? Actually, we need some documentation to make them to understand the process. That is very important. That is what I made the question. What happens when the person leaves a company, the critical resource leaves a company? Process document enables a smoother transition. So the new person can go through all the documentation and can able to understand what is going on, what process to be followed, what step to be followed in a critical time period and everything. So these are the important criteria to be followed or important procedure that SAP recommending you, right? So for the smoother transition, right? And say the fourth point will be analysis. I mean, how you use BPD to analyze any process or any methodology. So how can you know if a new method works better than the old? So there should be some analysis is required. So if there is not been a concrete record of both process, that is new and old, are performed, without that you cannot analyze anything, right? So process document lets you to complete apples to apple comparison of different methodologies. Okay, that is very important. So how you need to perform a documentation process? So no matter which method or which methodology you are using, so we have the standard key step process where SAP is recommending. So first one, identifying the process. So first identify the process that you are documenting. Give it a clear name and objective. Okay. And so second thing will be, uh, so in order to work and achieve their objectives, business process must be properly designed, arranged, written documented and discussed. It is important to capture further details within the process description, so orally or graphically or by using both techniques, right? So that is the identification of process. So by performing all these steps, the individual and groups who use the process can effortlessly meet the desired outcomes. Although business process documents may carry different sections, some common sections should be available in the entire business documents. This pattern of approach is deliberately to be given as an example of common and successful business document quantities. Say for example, some XYZ corporation. So the company behind the animated shots, Roadrunner, or any person who is handling some particular task utilize BPD because of its failure to meet staffing demands. Personal staffing has been recognized as a primary zone of development by corporations executing leaderships. So this procedure enabled some A to Z corporation to identify and meet its staffing demands by executing repetitive and standardized personal staffing procedures with involvement from every division. Okay, so I already told actually, so we have a, documentation process, right? The first step we discussed is identifying the process. So second step will be placing boundaries. So document the start and end points of the process, what triggers it to begin, and how to do. So you may know when it is to be completed, when it is to be covered. For example, the process might start when you realize your app's home screen look deleted or dated and end when you send the updated versions to all your customers. So this is what actually. So what is the limit for the boundaries? You need to know what is the start date or end date. What is the start activity, end activity, everything. So the third point will be list down the expected results. So what results you are expecting, right? That is very important. You need to document it. So what should happen at the end of the process? This might be something like the finished apps rollout to end users, or software update pushes to all the registered users without hiccups, right? So this is the expected results. You need to document, or you need to jot down all the expected results in your business process documentation. The fourth point will be detailing the inputs. Note, say for example, when you need to note what materials or equipment are necessary to complete a particular process. This should be as simple as your assembly line and robotic assistants, or as complex as your legacy servers, pivot clouds, or private clouds and multiple platforms. So how you need to integrate all these things, right? That is the detailing the inputs. And fifth point, walk through the process. So you need to thoroughly walk through process before executing any activity or any documentation, right? You can brainstorm how it might work, but it is better to perform the entire process from beginning to end. For example, you might say want to walk through the sales tunnel to see if any elements were left out during the mock-up phase. So try to remember, if a button is not on the wireframe, engineering won't build it, right? So we need to have some wireframe. So fourth will be, sorry, sixth point will be determine who is involved. That is important. Which person to be involved into which activity, who is involved in which particular activity. So all these things actually you need to know, right? So list the people who play in completing the process. This typically encompasses the only those to perform the task, but you can also note who the decision makers are from the process. So you need to identify the key resources who is going to identify all this process, right? That is very important. And say, as a that is what determine who is to be involved in a particular process. That is very important. So seventh, utilize your process documentation system. So carefully copy or mark all your notes in your process documentation while doing any analysis or determination, right? So review all the details to make sure you don't miss anything. So actually my final thoughts will be, for many companies, business process documentation or static documents, or as for some companies it may be dynamic, right? So it's a kind of consumer goods which may be are dynamic, that soon becomes outdated uh, and little of use. So that is what I place the word dynamic. We cannot say it is a static, but ongoing process documentation gives the real-time information you need to analyze and improve your business times, right? So that is what I'm referring to all these people. And so understanding the business process documentation, right? So the business process is an effective way to enhance your business performance. So you need to capture the each and every activity, thereby you can improve your business performance. It expands the workforce and resource efficiencies while identifying value-added duties to achieve critical demands. In order for a BPD to work effectively, a business process must be easily integrated with other procedures, including the organizational pattern. However, useful and effective business processes are often planned, applied, and discussed, right? For instance, a process may result in a confusion and can be provided if inefficient outcome. Those can be jotted down, and we need to try to avoid how to overcome it. That is what actually we need to use a business process document. You need to give all the required details, right? And when coming to processing, or any proposing, right? Proposing a solution or whatever it may be. So when proposing a solution, applying and discussing a new business process, it is necessary to supply required formal procedure flows, process borders, input and output, as well as control points. This will help the organization not only to improve the performance but also acquire a mechanism to continue the expected business procedures. So, the following elements, or we can say important elements, are listed down in a business process documentation, right? So, first thing, so business purpose, right? Process of or a process or a process for a proposing a particular solution. This must explain the purpose of the procedure. It particularly answers the questions why and how the procedure will help the organization. Okay, so this is very important. The purpose of the particular business process. You have to identify what are the backdrops, or what are the issues you are facing, how to overcome that, right? So 1 minute friends, actually I need to switch on my power source. Yeah, back to the form. So second thing, actually process scope. So the process scope, it provides a general image of what is covered in the business procedures and what is the output of the scope, or what is not included in the scope. That is what I already mentioned. So this process scope will normally give the idea of actually what is to be documented and what is not to be documented, what is to be followed and what not to be followed, right? So these are very so this will give you an expected outcome. So if the input is expected, or the decided already decided, then actually I mean I can say it is a fabricated. So then the output will be expected one. So we need a clear documentation, right? Analysis and documentation. Third one will be process inputs. This identifies the demand or input, what is required um, to start a particular process, right? It initiates a documentation process. And fourth one, identifying the boundaries, right? Again, actually, I'm just repeating actually. So whatever I already shared, actually, just giving the boundary. I mean, giving yeah, retake a kind of discussion actually. So we already discussed sometime some minutes back, but actually I'm again retaking it. So process boundaries. This is where a procedure starts and stops, right? For example, there may be a demand or input that starts a process, a trigger, although it's not actually a piece of the process. The boundaries of the procedure should be distinctly defined, documented, and discussed, right? So we need to know the north and north, east, west, and south of the particular activity. So it should have a boundary, right? So then process flow. When coming to process flows, majority of business process documents supply the process flows in a graphical presentation. Others provide the flow in verbal presentations, while some people provide both, that is graphical or a verbal presentation. This may still rely on your organization standards. How much actually the organization standard depends on documenting the BPD and everything, right? So it is vital that a detailed illustration of procedure is always provided. In its absence, the process becomes open to interpretation. So it misses the explanation of what is to be done, what not should be done, what is to be avoided, right? Actually, so I need to use a correct term, and will experience a lack of formalization and clarification. So it should be formal, and and also whatever the process identified in the BPD should be clearly defined and should be accepted by all the stakeholders in the organization. This process should illustrate each step of the procedure from beginning to end. So We need a the client ID team or a vendor ID team, and then actually business leads, business managers, global leads, and then actually the process owners, and then actually the IT team of the client, so experts, SMEs, and then actually we need the persons who are doing financing for a particular project. So everything, everyone should be presented in the decisions of process flows. And sixth one, process output. So all the business process expect an output or outcome. These are tied to a process cause when it should be done or not. May not be a formal piece of the process itself. It depends on whether the border is established as a single or integral piece of the document. As it states what is expected upon completing the process or provide a description or the procedures of output, right? So that is what actually the process of output should be expected. That is what actually many people are suggesting in a business day-to-day business activities. And seventh will be expectation to the standard process flow. Okay. So often the business process might not be able to follow its standard functional flows, so starting from beginning to end, because there might be a plenty of factors included in the process, right? So we have a lot of inclusions and exclusions, right, in a day-to-day business. So we need to properly analyze. First, you need to collect all the requirements, properly document it, and then actually we need to analyze that, and then actually we need to discuss with the outcomes of analysis with the stakeholders, and then we need to finalize all this requirement, and then actually you need to create a blueprint document. From blueprint document you are creating the BPDs, right, for the particular streams or whatever may we say. In SAP we have materials management, sales and distribution, production planning, quality management, and then plant maintenance. So we have say planning modules. So for example, we have transportation management or extended warehouse management. So yeah, whatever module, actually the concept will be the same, right? So we need a BPD document to avoid unexpected happenings in the future. So the particular consultant who is working in a particular area, right, might leave the organization due to his personal interest and everything. So at that time, actually, you need to give answer to the management, right? Or actually, you need to train or you need to educate a particular business user or a business person to know. Sorry, friends. So, so now we have in mind that what is business process document or what is a business process. So it say actually, so for the answer, what is a business process is nothing but a collection of activities, say in a particular SAP or materials management or procurement or warehouse management or order to cash or plan to product, whatever it may, plan to produce, whatever it may be, it's a PP model. So integration between PP and WM. So whatever it may be, it is having, each module will have a separate sequence of activities. So that business user or a business people has to do in a real time, and which is mapped to to the SAP as an outcome to track and trace the activities, right? That is what actually we are using the SAP as an ERP tool. So it's a collection of activities that produce a particular outcome. So what is it next? It is an expected outcome. So because everything was planned and executed as per the plan, and then actually the if input is expected, then output also expected, right? So not a big difference. There is no big deviation. So the deviation will be calculated as a reference, right? Percentage of reference and how to mitigate this, all these things. The deviation from the plan. So the business process documents sets out the guideline for documenting a business process. So whatever it may be, so we have this set of guidelines which is to be followed by the business people or business user or a business lead to execute a particular action. So which are documented very well as a guidelines, say whether it is a new user or a, existing user, he has to follow the rules. So for following that, or a guideline or handbook, the business process is documented. So the business process document describes a business process by providing the activity diagram, say flow charts kind of thing, right? In IT, actually, we are calling a flow chart, right? Actually, say if particular action is completed, so we need to give yes or no. If yes, then go to the next step. Or if no, again, actually, it will be taken as a feedback to the previous step from the current step. And so again, it is executed, right? It's a kind of closed loop control systems. So like that, actually we need to have yes or no, and if yes means actually we need to follow the second step. If no means actually again we need to follow the first step. So like that, actually we are taking that in a sequence of operations. So the feedback of the second step will be input to the first step, right? Actually, if it is error, or if it is right, actually the second step will be given to the third step as an input. Likewise, it's a flowchart kind of thing, right? So flowchart where all the activities are mapped as a diagram, and the contextual information around each of the activities within the process flow. So either you can give as a process flow or a kind of content or textual content, right? So it depends on, if both are there, then it is good to understand for everyone. So the activity diagram outline the sequence of activities and lower level tasks that perform a specific business process. So what activity diagram will perform means it's an outline of sequence of activities and lower level tasks that perform a specific business process. So normally high level process or task will not perform any process. The lower level one actually will do the lower level, right? In the sense, actually lower level, the minute or macro steps will do the particular initiation of business process. So the higher level will just control. That is the biggest difference. So the higher level will not be a dependent to the next step. The micro or macro level steps, that is lower level steps, will be responsible for initiating any step. So the collection of lower levels will form a biggest high level task, right? That is a difference. So just to make you to understand actually what is the difference, right? And this business process document can be used for variety of business projects. So it may be a transformation, or it is a migration, or a kind of actually rollout or implementation. Whatever project, we need a business process to execute it as per the expected output. So now we are moving. Say people will ask in their mind. So what are the contents? We almost described a lot of things on the business process documentations. What is business process documentation? Why it is to be documented? What is the purpose? Say if anyone actually is moving out, and the critical resource is moving out of the company, then immediately we need, yeah, replacement for that person. For the replacement person to understand the business process, we need one special amendment. We need a special document that is called like a business process document, which will make him to understand what is the current process and how to execute a particular task. What are the duties for the particular person when coming for replacement? How efficiently they can do that. So all these things matter. So we need a business process document. Now we need to think on what is the content of business process document, right? This is very much important for any industry. So to run a business, we need a content to document. So we need the in the contents of the business document. You need to, if you check any business process document in your project, so you need to give the purpose of the particular process. Second thing, business process and related details. Say particular business process, if you are describing, say what is the related details, what is the input you have to give, what is the feedback, what is the expected outcome, everything. So what activities you need to do, right? Actually those are the say procurement process is there. So starting from say for example RFQ, starting from RFQ to PRPO, GRIV. So what are the input and related activities or related details required? So for choosing a particular, for doing an RFQ process, we need a lot of inputs from different vendors. We need a lot of quotations, everything. So these are the related details, and you need to compare with, among the best one. And then process metrics. So for every action, we need to calculate the metrics. Metrics in the sense is a kind of score you are assigning to the particular action. If a group of action are, if many people are there or many objects are there, whichever is best, you need to give some metrics to that, right? That is called process metrics. And then key business changes. So you need to document what business change you are expecting from the current one. Well, if it is creating any risk or any problem or delay, so how to mitigate it? So these are, you need to capture these business changes from the existing business process. So that will help us business user to go through the handbook, and then actually they can easily understand what is to be done. And then actually transition design consideration. So what are the objects or what are the process to be transition, I mean to get transition, right? So you need to document it, you need to design it based on the recommendations from the business user or business aids, whatever maybe. You need to always keep in touch with the stakeholders to get the input, right? That is important. And revision history, you need to give a revision history, say starting from particular year 2011 to 2011, sorry 21. So you need to give some actually the version, say 2011. If you're doing initial configuration or initial execution, you need to give version 1. And in 2012, if you're doing any changes, say for example if you're changing any release strategy structure, or say for example if you are adding the email trigger, right, automatic email trigger from release strategy to the Outlook or IBM Lotus Notes or whatever it may be. So you are changing the approval levels or something. So you need to give version control. You need to give version 0.1 or version 1, version 2, version 3, like that. Just to make you to understand. I'm just giving an example. Just I'm giving, say any process change. So you need to give as a revision history. You need to capture the changes and document in the business process document. That will help. So okay, in 2011 this was like that, and 2012 this is changed to some level, and 2013 is changed to some different level, 7 levels of approval in purchase order list strategy. So say for example actually some field changes in GR, that was changed in 2021. That is different from 2011. So you can easily track down the changes that was implemented in SAP or any Oracle systems or whatever it may be. Okay, so just a tracking the changes. So revision history is very important. So user can easily understand what changes has been done. So how to execute it, what new input to be given, what fields to be populated, what is the expected output compared to previous one, all these things. So important points for BPD. So what important points you need to consider? This is a very, again, actually very good point. So we need to consider process levels. Say I already told actually from lower level to high level, mid level, all these things, super high level like that. So we need to capture all these things, and based on the levels you need to perform the particular activity. So you need to document all these activities categories, right? So you are categorizing the particular process into levels. So thereby giving an importance. So high, low, medium, like that. Okay. So actually, so you can give levels. So you can give levels, and then process modeling. So you need to model any process, right? So say it is a traditional model, or actually it is a new trending model, or actually so the particular model will be partially accepted to your company, or actually it is fully accepted. So you need to provide some modeling data, right, to your process. Otherwise you can, the business users or a business leads or a IT consultant, or a we can say global IT peoples, right? They won't accept the particular recommendation in the business process documents, right? You need to model particular thing. Say modeling in the sense, normally not only it is not only for design or kind of thing, right? Say it is applicable to entire process. So you need to say I need to model like that. Say for example, I need to give automatic PO during the GR. So while posting the GR, I need to create a PO. This is due to say multiple time I am unable to create actually, or I am not having the particular material is already in urgency. So you need to post the GR, and once you post the GR, automatically PO to be created and sent to the vendor. So PO is a legal document. So you need to create a PO for any material you are procuring from the vendor. So it's act as a legal document. So these are the important things actually you need to model. And version controls, again I already told actually. So version controls is very important, in the sense actually you need to give the numbers. So revision history is nothing but uh, how many times you revise the particular history, right? Actually what changes you made to the document, that is called revision history. You are giving version 1, version 2, version 2, and what is the date, everything. So you can, while while logging into actually the I can say revision history, you can find on which date, which process, or what changes happened by whom. So you can capture revision history. Version control is nothing but, I told actually I changed that topic actually. So I think actually I confused. So version control is the one actually where changes has been done, right? Actually, so in the purchase order level, we have earlier 3 stages of release, PO release, and later stage in 2012 actually it is a 7th stage of release. So and in 2015 you did actually, based on the business requirement, you did say automatic or actually immediate trigger of email to request a particular second level user or third level user to release the PO through mail. So through Outlook or Lotus Notes or whatever mail system they are using. So these kind of changes will be tracked in the version controls. Even in SAP we are having the version control in PO, but that is different. I am telling about the version control in the business process document. So once you change a version controls, then it will be documented in the revision history. So these are mutually interrelated. Okay, and document approval and review. So once you do the any changes, important changes, you need to document it and route for approval. And before routing for approval, it should be sent to review for your IT team, and then actually the business leads, and then actually the business owners, and then IT top level persons, and validation team. All these things matter. So review followed by the approval. So that is very important. Okay, and so next point for tracking down. So on particular date, what changes has been done, and who did that, and what is the corresponding impact. So you need to capture everything, and we need to, normally in IT projects they have the version control document, the number ranges, and then actually they will give the CR number, that is change request number, right? and transport numbers, everything will be captured. So these are used for the tracking. And reference document, you can input actually a reference document, say particular changes has been done, which this changes has been done with a reference to particular so and so document. You need to give the document number so that the particular user when or IT person who is checking the document, they can refer to the deferred document, they can understand the process. Say for example, in newer version, right, later versions, like you cannot implement, you cannot list down all the process every time. Instead of doing the same repetitive job, you can give the reference number document so that you can easily understand. Say for example, in 2011 you implemented particular process, and 2012 or 13, 14, 15 you did lot of changes, and 2016 you are doing a new change. At that time you will refer the previous say 2011, okay, this was implemented, and 12, 13, 14, 15 you did some changes. You can easily track down all this changes using the reference document. Again, revision history I already told actually, so you are giving the revision history numbers so that you can easily track on which date, who did that, what is the change, what is the impacted model, everything you can track. So it's a kind of, I mean, some details are more repeated, but I need to provide, otherwise actually you cannot understand, right? So you need to give this topics in your document. Scope and availability. Okay. Again, what is the scope for the particular process? What is the current availability? How you are planning the particular scope with available resources. Resources may be a material, human, or money, whatever it may be. Okay. So activities to be performed. So what activities you are planning the particular scope to execute your expected performance. So those activities can be documented. Second thing, reporting requirements. So do we need any reporting requirements? Say we need a particular list of vendors, subcontracting vendors, or contract manufacturing vendors. So how many materials will get impacted due to this production changes and everything. So you what say which vendor has supplied particular material. So those kind of reporting is required. So you need to generate a report, right? That is very important. And say then actually we need to document which process described in the document are applicable to the scope and availability. So whether it is available currently or not, or undergone any undergone any changes happen. So those kind of stuffs actually you need to describe, and which level process are included. So say we have a different level of process available in SAP, right? Not only in SAP, in any software actually, Oracle or JD Edwards, whatever it may be, we have different level of process to be executed. So you need to give importance, you need to give some level of importance to each process. So you need to execute in particular sequence. So important task will be executed first, and then medium, and then low, right? Like that. And applicable for which country? So you need this is again actually the global, local importance, right? Based on that, actually, we are I mean, we are doing changes to the particular country, or it is a global change for the entire organization. Say the organization is located in different countries, starting from North America, South America, say for example, Middle East, Europe, and then actually Africa, Asia. So based on actually the region, actually say Brazil will have a different taxation. So China will have a golden tax. So like that, actually we have different say templates available for a particular country, or some process will be globally accepted. So you need to plan actually whether the particular change to be executed is applicable as a local or a global, which is applicable to all country, then global. If it is particular to country, then it is a local. Okay, that is important. So you need to document everything. So scope and availability means you need to document activities to be performed, reporting requirements, then which process described in the document, and then fourth one, what or which level process are to be included, and fifth one, applicable for which countries. These are very important. Key assumptions. Now, see, if you document anything or writing any document, so you need to have some key assumptions, right? So without that, actually, we cannot perform. So the assumptions which are not actuals. So it is an assumption, okay? It's not a real one. Before executing anything, you need to, while you're planning, you need to give some key assumptions, right? So to calculate the risk, how to mitigate. So we need to have some assumptions. It is very important to state the key assumptions in the business process document. For example, any existing interface that will be followed, any manual step that still be required, irrespective of certain steps being automated. Say for example, say while talking about SAP PP and any external manufacturing systems. So some interfaces to be manually operated, or some to be automatically operated, or some things actually you need to continue with the existing template or existing setup and no need to touch anything. So some interfaces you need to touch, and then only you can get some solid confirmation on integrations. So you need to identify by sitting with actually sitting and discussing with the business people, business leads, IT team, global IT team, all these people and experts, SME subject matter experts. So based on that, you need to bring down or jot down key assumptions. That is, key assumptions is always important to execute any project. So process integration element and relevance. So what are the key process integration elements to be considered, and what is the relevance and importance in that, right? So many of the process are not limited to one particular area or module. For example, if you are speaking about the bank statement, we are actually talking about following integration elements like vendor master, customer master, banking master, GL master, etc. Likewise, actually, if you're talking about actually the SAP PP integration with the MES system, so we need actually metal master interface, we need vendor master interface, then actually we need actually master batch record. Say actually then we need batch master, all these things, and then process order creation interface, and then any changes, right? So we in process order we have different steps actually, start, abort, continue, or end, stop, or something like that, right? And we are giving some each phases in particular. Say in manufacturing we have taking the material, when converting a raw material to finished goods, we need to take to different work centers and different stages of operations. So each will be calculated in SAP, right? You need to implement it, and then we need actually say GR against process order, GI against a process order, GI cancellation against a process order, GR cancellation, and then transport movements, right? Actually say when you are posting any from location to location, if you are moving in the production to non-production area, or production to dispensing area, you need to send an update through the interface, right? IDOC interface, intermittent document can change interface to the MES system. And actually there is that communication is to and fro. So you need to decide which interfaces are required, which is to be maintained manually, which is to be automatically maintained, and any changes in the particular interfaces, those are to be captured. Again, from the relevance perspective, it is also important to specify if the process is of any relevance to SOX or GMP, right? So SOC is nothing but an audit control, right? In IT industry, where many people, those who are working in IT industry can know, or any manufacturing industry can know. Actually, SOX is a compliance, right? It's a policy or procedure to be followed. So the auditors will follow or track down any changes. Say they are the business people maintain the particular steps or not. If they miss anything, they will ask for reason. Actually, they will shoot a mail, or in a war room they can discuss with them. Likewise, for IT also they will ask us in the mail, or discussing in war room, why you implemented, why you missed to document it. So if you document it, why you are not providing the version control, how we need to track that. So what are the impacts on doing the changes. So everything will be questioned by the SOC. So what is the impact if you are giving us some input? So what input you are expecting, output expecting. So all these things will be captured in the SOX. GMP is nothing but goods manufacturing practice. So say for manufacturing any product or material, so you need to follow the goods manufacturing practice, in the sense the name itself conveying that how to manufacture the particular good, how to take the particular material into operations, how to inventorize everything, right? That will be given in the goods manufacturing practice procedures and policies. We have in internet, we have a lot of GMP procedures available, so you need to follow all this process. Okay. And then we have process flow representation. This is very important. So we need flow diagrams can be represented or presented based on the specific activity definitions and related details and activity definitions. So these are very important for any flow authorizations. I don't know. I think I don't want to very deep dive into this. Okay, authorization in the sense each people will have authorization to approve or review that, right? So these are the key control: authorization, access controls. So particular user will have will performing procurement or manufacturing or sales. So related to that, what transactions you need to they need to handle. So you are controlling that the particular access to the user using the access controls and authorizations, everything. So we have SAP security and GRC control, right? Likewise in Oracle also they are having security team to control the user authorizations, which transaction you need to access, which model he belongs, which activities he is expected to do, all these things. And delegation of authority. So you are again actually whatever I explained, right? So particular user working as a manager. So for the manager, what roles he need to provide? Say for example, in purchase order, he can amend that. He can approve the release strategy. So you can change the purchase order value limit, or he can change a vendor. So once after the procurement department user created it, so he can it will be routed to the approve. For his approval, he can change or deny other approvals, change the purchase order limit. So he can do changes, right? Actually, so for those things, actually we need to give particular authority. I mean that is called a delegation to the levels: manager, senior manager, general manager, like that, vice president. So each will have a delegation authority to provide a particular operation. Now again, process metrics. So when talking about process metrics, you know, right? So you are giving the levels, and for again each level you are giving some weightage, right? That the weightage is called a process metrics, which can be specified in the below areas. That is metrics description. Why you are giving rating 5 for the high level metrics? So you need to describe that. And then approach, how you are approaching the weighting cycle, or how you are assigning a value to the particular activity or a process or a particular flow. So that is called an approach. So you have some certain conditions. Say for example, when talking about actually the procurement metrics, right? Actually say the delay in performance or delivery time, quality, quantity, timing. So all these kind of metrics you are giving metrics or value or weightage to the particular list of actually activities or criteria. So based on that, the different vendors will be executed. Say for in your company, you are having some 10 to 30 vendors. Each vendor will be rated or will be categorized based on this the metrics. I mean procurement metrics. What are the procurement metrics? Normally, say we have quantity, quality, in time delivery, on time delivery, correctly. I mean supplying the transportation charges, bearing the supply. I mean transportation charges by the vendor, and say any defect, GR processing time, at what time he is delivering. I mean from the PO to GR, what time he will take. So then actually the favor he is giving, negotiations. So is whether it's friendly or not. So all these things, right? These are called procurement matrix. How much percentage is giving discounts. So these are the procurement metrics. So you are giving this approach, right? So based on that, you are validating the or selecting the particular vendor based on the weightage you are giving. That is called metrics. Then audience. So which persons are monitoring the audience, which persons are involved in the providing the process metrics. So everything matters. And then report reference. So you need to have a solid reference for the past history, for the upcoming incidents, right? So you need to have some report reference. So business normally will look for a report reference. So say for example, say from starting from January 1st 2001 to January 30 2001. So what activities actually you performed, right, for the particular duration of time. Based on that, the next month will be planned. So normally, right, like Indian countries actually say they are operating with a low budget, so they will mainly look for the lot of say normally when I'm working in Indian based Indian based industries, right? So when implementing SAP in that, actually it's a kind of challenge, in the sense they will look for a lot of reports, because for them actually each activity will cost a penny, right? So it is a cost to them, so they need a proper reference. Whereas a global clients, right, they have they have huge money, and they also actually concentrate on the money, but not like the domestic company, because Indian companies are having a low budget or low cost to operate any business, right? It's a kind of challenge in any country, or any different each country will have a different limitations, procedures, policies. They need to report to the government everything, so they need a report, right, to provide information to business or business government stakeholders. So if a particular stakeholder will ask me what performance you did for this particular month, how the company work for this particular area. So all this will be questioned, right? These are the important criteria we need to answer. And so then actually we have this key business change. So key business change, you need to track down what key business change will impact your business, whether to do the key change at this time or not, or at some later point of time, whether we can postpone that or prepone the key business change. What is the cost implication on doing the change? So everything to be monitored in the key business change. So it is called nothing the key business change or quite obvious due to the fact of design and development consideration. That is what I am saying. So if you are doing any design or development changes, whether it will impact the business or not, how what whether it is giving a positive feedback or negative feedback, whether the business will be more happy with that or not, they will get irritated. Some people will after doing change they are not feeling good, should be more satisfactory to the business users. So these are the key business changes we need to track down. Either it may be a process area or impacted parties, means business users, stakeholders, I'm generally saying it covers everything, right? So description of impact, you need to document descriptions of the impact. That is also a very important, which is used for a history kind of thing. For any action, we need to have some history, so that you can avoid that or add that in a coming days. So you need a description of the impact. And then transition design considerations. So the transition design considerations can be quite an important factor in the case of implementations or scattered across the multiple releases. So if the release is scattered, then actually you need to do the transition design considerations. Say in January 10 2001 you are doing the first stage of implementation, and January 2002 you are doing the second release, and 2003 you are doing third release. Like that, if your it is scattered, then you definitely need a transition design consideration. So first release what you do, second release what you will do, third release what you did. So everything will be jotted down. So transport transition point, you are capturing description of the transition design consideration. You need to capture everything will be considered. And next one is BPD optional or required? It's a last two question. So very good question, I can say. Many people, why you are doing this BPD? It's a very question. It's important or not? It is SAP's recommendation is always, it is always best practice to document respective business you are following, business process design, and or the flows, to have an overall understanding about the established process framework in which this gets operated, how things are implemented in the real life scenario, along with many more advantages. What are the advantages or negativity observed? So all these things can be monitored in the BPD. So not only SAP, in my experience, say starting from I'm working in SAP starting from 2003 onwards. So 2003 to 2023 is a kind of 20 years experience. So in that actually I'm seeing lot of actually advantages in creating a BPD. Some project, I mean, normally Indian projects will not look for actually BPDs everything, right? So they will create a business blueprint document. With that actually they will continue with other remaining steps. But in a multinational projects or big projects, they will look for actually BPDs and everything. See, I can say actually BPD creation and everything is again actually we need to spend a lot of time. So based on the business blueprint, we need to analyze the process, and then actually we need to document the review, and then you need to create the consultant need to create a business process documents. It should be sent to review to the IT team, IT manager, say actually business user, business leads, business managers, stakeholders. Everything should be accepted, and everyone will be in common page, right? So it's a cost to the company also for the beneficiary, the partner. Say, for example, a manufacturing company is implementing with the help of an IT vendor. So the IT vendor for creating an IT, for creating the business process documents, IT vendors will charge a cost to the manufacturing company. So survey the manufacturing company has to beneficiary company has to provide I mean cost to the or he need to pay them the cost involved to the IT vendor, right? Service provider company. So this is like, again actually for a small company they will think more on that, but for a big company definitely actually they are ready to do that because they need a reference, right? As already told, a lot of reasons I told actually, if a critical person is moving on or actually moving out of the company, so he needs some substitute or replacement. The new person has to understand for the process for that BPD is required. So BPD will be created in each and every stream, that is materials management, sales and distribution, production planning, plant maintenance, QM, there is quality management. So each model will have the BPD. Okay, so it is a must. I mean, based on my experience and consider suggestions, BPD is very important for executing any project. Without that you cannot track down the history, process area, impacts, and metrics, approach. So all these things are very important. So even you are tracking down the key controls, right? That is very important. You need to consider. So BPD is very important for any project, but again, it depends on the client recommendation and client scope, how much cost they are implementing, because they need to pay the money for the time and the work they have given. I mean, the IT vendor is working for the beneficiary of the particular manufacturing company, so they need to pay to the IT vendor for the work they done, right? So these are the important things. And then so as already told actually, um, we are having the if you need to grow the company, you need to give some, you need to input, or you need to analyze, you need to review, you need to process different activities. So expect those were called the expectation to the standard process flows. Yeah, sorry friends. Actually, due to my battery charger issues, actually, I was actually so my laptop was shut down. So yeah, again I recharged and now again join. Okay, so we are talking about actually the the functional aspect, or actually the expectations to the standard process flows. So we need to know about the importance of documenting the business process flows. This procedure must illustrate where the expectation to the business flow it takes place and what steps to take if they are implemented, or if they're expected to implement, right? So that is a functional aspect. Okay, and next thing, define control points and calculations. So normally business process are not without risk. So any business, it should have some risk to be calculated, right? So those unpredictability or risk, right, which cannot be avoided and which is to be mitigated. So we need to work on how to control and calculate the risk and how to mitigate it. That is a part of the, that is one aspect of BPD documents, right? That will help you to understand the particular process risk or unpredictability happens. So how to avoid those things in future. All these things you can work out, right? So not sure they are free from any sort of exertions or happenings, right? Control point should be initiated at a variety of points, variety of stages of the procedures flows where risk have been recognized. So this helps to process the process owner track risk connected with the process. It is a functional in continuous process enhancement efforts you need to encounter. Measurements are very significant and more critical for diagnosing the effectiveness of a procedure and executing process enhancements, right? So they may also occur with control points in an effort to recognize where risk or problem may arise. At the same time, they diagnose a methodology for enhancing the procedure around these problems and risks. So here is an example of actually how the BPD will help you to control the risk and how to calculate the mitigations. All these things matters. So you need to properly document all the business process, and so you need to analyze it and then thoroughly work with your stakeholders and finalize it. And after getting approval, you need to implement the BPD. So for any growing organization, right? So taking into consideration of BPD, so thereby business to grow at next level is something you always look forward to, right? That is a main concern for you. So it's not a miles of kilometers or milestones, right? Actually, so it's a kind of practical thing you need to control. So I mean, based on your future experience, right? Actually, not future experience. It's a past experience. You need to implement those uh, procedures and milestones here. So if you are looking to standardize any process or any procedures, you need to qualify your, you need a qualified team, and so the quality of organization process will be enhanced much more. So we need to adhere what SAP BPD recommendations normally give, right? That is important for anyone. So SAP has provided beautiful documents on SAP BPD and all. So I request all our friends to go through the BPD documentations. That will help you more. Thanks friends. Thanks for watching. This is GV Shivakumar signing off.